Imagine a world without languages. What would it be like? Throughout history, humanity has developed languages as a unique quality. Language has enabled people to express their thoughts, feelings, and experiences, and to pass on knowledge and culture. Homo sapiens' fireside chats and the stories they told each other played a crucial role in the evolution of humanity's collective knowledge and language, and formed the basis of religion, literature, philosophy, art, and technology. Today, more than 7,000 languages are spoken around the world. But what would happen if there were no languages? In a world without languages, people would have to develop other mechanisms to communicate. Perhaps gestures, facial expressions, and body language would play a more important role. People would get used to using gestures and facial expressions to express their feelings, wishes, and thoughts. However, this form of communication would have been very limited, and they would have found it difficult to communicate complex thoughts and abstract concepts. The lack of languages also greatly affected the transmission of knowledge. The lack of written and oral communication would have made the transmission of knowledge from generation to generation difficult and perhaps slowed the development of human societies. The transmission of knowledge and experience was based more on visual learning and natural observation. People taught each other by demonstrating their skills and abilities. The transmission of many basic survival skills would have been difficult. Social structures were also shaped by the absence of languages. Instead of the cultural unity and sense of identity provided by languages, people may have been held together more by physical ties. Physical factors such as family ties, tribal affiliations, or geographical regions could have determined people's relationships with each other. Without languages, religions, identities, and nations would have developed in different ways. Languages are not just words. They reflect our culture, our identity, and our soul. To lose our languages is to lose ourselves. The absence of languages would also affect the way people think. Language is an important part of our thought process and shapes our thoughts. How could we think without putting our thoughts into words, without expressing abstract concepts? Perhaps people would have developed more concrete and visual ways of thinking. The lack of languages would limit the scope and complexity of our imaginations. It might have been difficult to express complex concepts and ideas, but it might also have led to different ways of thinking and expressing ourselves. Perhaps we would think more intuitively and emotionally. But could humanity have developed new skills in the absence of languages? The absence of languages would also have a major impact on the historical and cultural accumulation of humanity. Language is a carrier of knowledge and experience from the past. History, myths, legends, and wisdom are transmitted through languages. Without languages, much of this knowledge and experience would be lost, and people would know much less about their past. If people had never needed language, and if language production had never taken place, we might not be able to talk about a global definition of humanity. In other words, instead of societies united by language, could we talk about a community of all the people in the world brought together by the absence of language? Perhaps this time we would communicate through certain visual codes that carry the same meanings for all humanity. In the absence of language, man can only learn by living, and that means a very limited experience for a human life. However, man is a unique creature who, given the opportunity to access much more than this, can create exquisite stories and narratives from it. The effects of a war he has not experienced can make him produce the best story in the world. Or he can suffer the pain of a love story that did not happen to him. He can feel on the other side of the world by listening to songs. The only thing that helps him in all this intense creative process is language. As a result, human life would be very different in a world where languages had never existed. Communication, information transfer, social structures, and thought processes would be completely different. However, humanity's creativity and adaptability would probably find new solutions to meet these challenges. What do you think they would be? How would humanity evolve? Don't forget to like and subscribe.